Mully Haugh, Chicago Sports Radio 6-7 to the score. It's always a delight, a joy. It's also a humiliation to speak to the great man. He's been a local legend these many years. Oh, gosh, what can you say about Tom Thayer? Tom, you honor us with your presence. How are you this morning?
Oh, living the dream, just like you guys. How you guys doing?
How much fun was that, Tom? I mean, did you see that coming? Did you know that was going to happen, and why didn't you tell me?
You know, I thought it could happen because I didn't have the same feeling going into New England playing this New England version of this football team than you did for the last 20-something years when Tom Brady was there. It was almost a foregone conclusion that you didn't have any way or you weren't bringing anything with you that was able to beat the Patriots with Brady. But when I kept staring at that, how much, how well their running game is supporting the Bears throughout up into this point in the season, I'm going, okay, if you can come into this stadium and you can run the ball as well as you've been running it, and you can get Justin to take that next step forward, and then you'd have to get some type of return. You got to make sure you catch every punt. You just had to do something that was unusual. And then when you look at the interception by Brisker and what a magnificent catch and what a great play it was, and what a challenging throw it was for the quarterback to try to fit it into no area, that, it could have. I sent a message to somebody, and they said, well, what do you think today? And I said, I think the Bears can be competitive if they run the ball, if they catch every punt, and they get at least one turnover. I wasn't certain of the outcome, but I didn't carry the same fear I did in there when we went in there a few years ago and we were getting beat 42-0 at halftime, and there was nothing you could to overcome. And so I thought it was possible, but I didn't really know that it was that possible.
Tom, it's not a championship caliber Patriots team, but it's still Bill Belichick. This isn't the same type of atmosphere that it used to be, but it's still Foxborough. When is a win more than just one win? When does it matter more than just what happened last night? And then you can look to that and point to that if you are an organization looking for something to cling to, and now you just provided it. Is it more than just one victory, and what do the Bears need to do to make sure that it can be?
Go there and challenge Dallas. I was just looking at some of the numbers that they put out the week before the game, and I think Dallas has a 89% chance to win in Dallas, and I think they gave New England an 84% chance to win. So if you could go into Dallas and you could kind of control that hostile environment, allow the Bears fans to interject their support, and then you can continuously run the ball the way they are. Because right now, if you're a defensive coordinator, you don't know you don't know how to handle, or you don't know what to think of Justin Fields. Because if you over blitz him and they have a moving pocket, or he's throwing outside the tackle box and he has space, then he can eat up a lot of space quickly. David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert in the running game continues to support the entirety of the offense as well as they have been, then maybe you can change the stadium at Jerry's World. But David, it's funny you say that, because as soon as after the game was over, we were doing post game, and I was thinking, God, what a great feeling this is to sit in Foxborough after beating the New England Patriots. And then you're thinking, oh, my God, if you go into Dallas next week and then you take a thumping, is this win for naught, or are you just playing not the same New England team that we were used to for a long time? And then I was thinking about Belichick, because when Belichick made the decision to put in Brady, it was because of Drew Bledsoe just got jacked up on the sideline, and he had to make the change. Right. When he made that change so early in the game the other night, I think it put so many question marks in the heads of the players and the quarterbacks themselves. They don't know what to think. So he kind of almost made his own team a little bit dysfunctional because he made a change so quickly. And then when Mac Jones threw the interception, that was a result of just a bad decision. But then when you put in a 6'1", 220-pound quarterback he had 3 balls tipped that resulted in interception and one of them on a third down and gives the ball back to the Bears. I'm thinking, wow, this is really a confused sideline over there now, and the Bears are calm. They are coming off the field every time, whether they're scoring 7 or 3, and they're able to make the change from Lucas Patrick to Sam Mustipher with no change at all because he's been playing anyways. You get N'Keal Harry involved in the game. The first 2 completions to EQ St. Brown, and then I think it was Darnell Mooney, were both one was a waggle, you call it, where the quarterback drops straight back and then kind of meanders over behind the right tackle before he throws the ball. Then the second one was a rollout. But it was the same blocking scheme for the offensive line. So now he's starting to confuse some of the players on the New England side of the ball, and Justin was had a clear throwing area, a clear throwing lane, and he had receivers that were wide open, and he was patiently taking what was being offered. So, you know, it was kind of a weird way the game took its course, but you kind of felt more confident every possession the Bears had.
When you saw Lucas Patrick get hurt, how did that change the line? I mean, I know what happened. I'm just saying, what were your thoughts on the offensive line? Did it seem better when they started out with Patrick? When he went out, what happened? And you know, long night for poor Larry Borom.
Yeah, Larry Borom jumped outside too quickly on a couple pass sets, and Judon beat him to the inside. You know, I didn't see enough of Lucas Patrick to make the determination that it was a good switch by the coaching staff to put him in instead of Sam Mustipher. And then Sam Mustipher went in and had a couple plays, and then during the timeout, I saw him come over to the sideline with Justin Fields and snap a couple shotgun snaps to him. And I said to Justin after the game, I said, whose request was that? Was that your request to Sam, or was it Sam's request to you? And he said he asked Sam to do it because he's got a little bit different flight pattern of his shotgun snap than Lucas Patrick does. So it's just good that they got that, you know, kind of the feeling back in there, and then he got an understanding of how he's going to accept the flight of the ball. So it's something he's not thinking about during the cadence. It's rather just happening, and he's going about his business. So, but you know, I don't know. Did they announce what the injury is to Lucas? I heard somebody said it was a toe.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to go out there and play if you have a severe turf toe or you have plantar fasciitis or something like that. So if you can keep the line in place, I guess you're going to have to. You probably have to keep Schofield in there until Cody Whitehair comes back. You may even have to give some practice reps to Jatari Carter to see if the worst-case scenario happens, make sure that he's up to speed to be able to go in there and play. And so they have a lot of decisions to make within this short week. But getting back to Lucas, I really didn't see enough of a sample size to determine if that was a good move or a move that was made since Lucas came here. And he's been wanting to play center more than guard anyways.
Tom, you saw real complimentary football. When the Bears possess the ball for 37 minutes, it limits how much damage the Patriots offense can do. That said, 4 takeaways, a second straight game where the Bears defense was pretty aggressive, tackled well. And now, don't look, but hey, they've only given up 26 points in the last 2 games. I know you have to consider a lot of factors there, and the Bears did have a lead. But why is this defense taking a step that it appears to have taken?
Well, you kind of said everything. They're able to play more aggressive. They're getting better play out of the defensive tackle position. They're bringing a couple blitzes, whether it's Roquan Smith or a corner or a safety. There's, you know, guys like Brisker and Kyler Gordon are gaining confidence in themselves. They're able to play different types of coverages because they have a little bit more trust in the young guys in the back end of this defense. When you're getting Kindle Vildor, Kyler Gordon, and Jalen Johnson, you're getting 3 cornerbacks that are improving along the way. And so it does give you a little bit more of a luxury of where you can play the safeties during the cadence and you can move them during the cadence, and you can put them in a position where if they do have a pass call by the offense, that they're continuously thinking about where the defensive backs are going to be set by the time the ball is snapped. So I think it's just a group that's maturing individually. They're maturing as a unit, and they're guys like Roquan Smith are understanding understanding the defense a little bit more efficiently, because even asking Roquan immediately after the game about when they send you on that blitz, when you're sitting behind the line of scrimmage, do you see that this is going to open up for me and I'm going to get my opportunity? And he's starting to recognize when they do call his opportunities that he kind of sees it beforehand if it's going to be successful or not. And I think that's super encouraging for, a guy that's averaging about 12 tackles a game. And if you have that luxury of blitzing a couple more times, if you can keep him out of coverage, that's a real deterrent to the offensive coordinator or the opponent, because they either have to keep a back in, they have to keep an extra lineman in place, or they have to change the way their protection is formulated against what they're seeing across the line of scrimmage. But I still need to see more out of the defensive end position. We're not getting a lot out of Robert Quinn. We're not getting a lot out of Muhammad. We're not getting a lot out of Dominique Robinson and Trevis, for that matter. So if there could be a game where they could have another 2, 3, maybe 4 sack performance out of the defensive end position, that'll even open people's eyes around the league even more.
Tom, got up this morning and talked to Dustin, and his first thing he said was he thought if Bailey Zappi had started the game, it might have been a different result, which I thought was an interesting comment. And then we talked a little bit later in the program about this idea that would they have had that performance had they not had that what happened at the end of the Washington game, right? I mean, it seemed like there were a lot of interesting things that happened that led to this dominant performance.
That's an interesting point by Dustin, because to me, I was thinking there's a lot in common between these two quarterbacks, because Mac Jones, he tried to get back on the field a little bit faster than common for a high ankle sprain. And if he is doesn't have the ability to make an avoidance step or turn the ball up, and he had a couple nice runs early in the game, I would continuously attack him until he proved that his ankle was 100%. And it's the same thing with Bailey Zappi. I would take just the fact that he's a super young guy in a brand new system, and as well as he's played, he doesn't have a complete understanding of that New England system. So I would treat them both the same, and I would attack them repeatedly until they prove that Zappi could throw over the top of the defensive lineman, or Mac Jones is healthy enough to run away from pressure, blitzes, or just, a caving in of the pocket.
All right, Tom, so when you're watching as a former offensive lineman and understanding this team as well as anybody, and you see Justin Fields holding on to the ball, and at times holding on to the ball too long, but knowing that when he does that, he can make a 20-yard gain and something out of nothing. And that's got to be a difficult balance to strike for a young player, a young quarterback, figuring out what exactly he's going to be in the NFL. Where do you think that that is headed? And is that right now the positives outweigh the negatives after a night like last night, but is that something that he's going to get better at?
He has some uncoachable talent that Luke Getsy or any of these coaches are not going to tell Justin how to run fast, how to react, how to avoid tacklers in space. He just has that innate ability. The only thing that I would like Justin and the offensive line to be on the exact same page is, where is the strength of my protection? Where am I trying to get my head placement so I can provide the longest opportunity for you? If you start freelancing and going in the opposite direction of your protection, then you become susceptible to holding calls or just being out of position. So it's about that relationship that they'll develop over time to get the perfect understanding of the protections. But like I said, if he sees an open space, he sees his receivers covered, he knows that he sees a 5-year opening that could possibly turn into a first down or a 10-yard gain or something like that. Those are the things that, rarely do you have the luxury of playing with a quarterback like that. The guys like McMahon didn't have it, but he knew when to pull the ball down and run. And, the Tom Zacks and Harbaugh and the other guys that I played with, they didn't have this type of real challenging, threatening trait that Justin has been blessed with. But now, again, it's getting him relaxed in the pocket, having him, be relaxed when he gets in an exterior type of protection, waiting for the receiver to open up. Even last night when he had a split back between Ebner and Khalil Herbert, and they both went off to the right, he was waiting the whole time for E.Q. St. Brown to run a shallow crossing route, and was able to stand there calmly and deliver the ball so E.Q. could catch it for the first down. So those are good things to see, but it's not a finished product by any means. This is still needs just hundreds of reps in pass protection so Justin and the offensive line have a perfect understanding of each other.
Tom, we ask this question all the time, but I think it's appropriate again today because of the incredible rushing performance, 243 yards, the sixth best against a Bill Belichick-era New England team. Why is there such a disparity between offensive linemen blocking for run blocking, and I understand they're moving forward, all that, and pass blocking? If you're as dominant as you are as a run blocking team, why doesn't that translate better into pass blocking?
Because when you run block, it's 5 guys coming off the ball and working double team blocks to get up to the second level and try to create that point of attack. And you got runners like Montgomery and Khalil Herbert and the rest of the guys that can turn a 2-yard crease into a 5-yard gain. But when you're pass blocking, you got 5 individual battles going on. And nowadays, with the amount of rushers that they can send out at you, they create a little bit of space by where they want to line up. Now you're separating Larry Borum from Tevin Jenkins, so Tevin Jenkins can't bail from the center or the defensive tackle and come out and help you. And if you do overset and you get a guy that reads it, this week Micah Parsons, look, man, if you don't hold your ground, don't overset, don't get your feet to the point where he's saying, okay, when Larry Borum steps to his right, he takes 2 steps. When he gets into that second step, I'm cutting back to his inside shoulder and challenge him and get him into a position of weakness. So those 5 individual battles are a lot harder to hold up than having 5 guys coming off the ball, include the tight ends at times and Kari Blasingame. When you have that aggressiveness and that approach, and Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, he does a really nice job of paying attention to the details of a good, powerful double-team block where the offensive linemen, they're not hitting each other. They're both taking both of their forces equally against the defender to get to that second level. So I think when you look at a new offensive line coach coming in to develop an offensive line that has a lot of new moving parts and rookies like Braxton Jones, though that's how it's easier to gain more confidence in running the ball than when you go, oh my God, where's Reggie White lined up? Where's Keith Millard? Or, this is old school guys, but where are their top pass rushers lining up? And who is that top pass rusher picking out going, okay, this is where the vulnerability lies. This is who I'm going to attack. And back in the day when you played guys like Reggie White and he lined up on you, you know that you're identified as the vulnerable guy in that offensive line, and here he comes. So watch Lawrence, watch Micah Parsons, look at where they line these guys up this week against Dallas, and they'll tell you a little bit of the story of how they perceive your offensive line as pass blockers.
Tom, 30 seconds. You see little things that mean a lot. I'm curious if it struck you, end of the game, 4th and goal from the 2, 25 seconds left. Instead of trying to score, Matt Eberflus tells Justin Fields to take a knee, and the game is over. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I think it's kind of coach-to-coach respect. I'm not going to rub it into you. I know I've won the game, and I know I'll see you again down the road. And coaches don't forget things like that. So I just think it was don't put anybody in harm's way in an aggressive goal line play like that. Let's take a knee. Let's get out of here, get on the plane, and come home.
Great stuff. Appreciate it, Tom.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
Tom.
See you later.